good after whatever. Eight days ago, we filmed an episode about the game I love. Now I hate that game. The Dodgers have lost 15 of their last 16 games, including 10 in a row. After undoubtedly being the best team in baseball, they are now most certainly the worst. In this episode, I made a prediction that the Dodgers would win the World Series. I had the Dodgers beating the Cleveland Indians in the World Series in 7 games, which I no longer believe is in the realm of possibility. Dodgers fans, good night and good luck.
Hello, Mother. This is Half Mental, the show that's 90% baseball and the other half mental. I'm Giancarlo Stanton.
And I'm Corey Kluber. Really nice to have you with us this month to go over July. Nope, August. Damn it. We're going to go over the month of August. It's been a busy month. A lot to talk about. In keeping with tradition, let's just get over the...
First, let's cheers.
Okay. We'll just breeze past the Cubs real quick,
Yeah.
who have basically returned to their 2016 form.
Yeah, they're really scary.
I believe their run differential for the month is at like plus 66, which is really good for a month of baseball.
Right.
Chris Bryant has a line almost identical to his MVP season last year.
Yep.
Jake Arrieta had like a ERA sub 2 for the
He was
month.
the best pitcher in the last month, right? In
Basically,
the
yeah.
National League.
Yeah.
Hate that.
My favorite Cubs highlight, though, was John Lackey got his first career stolen base.
And what appeared to be his first career slide.
Yep.
As well.
Yep. Do you follow Half Mental BB on Twitter?
I do.
Oh,
Weird.
What an entertaining
1 of
baseball content. Yeah, so that's a great highlight. I wish I should have looked at what pitcher it was off of. Okay. Really good Cub segment.
Yeah.
Good?
Glad we got that over with.
Should we continue with power teams? Or not power rankings.
Yeah, let's continue
That's
with power teams.
No, should we talk about other... Let's just talk about the Indians for a second.
Okay, sorry. Okay. Yeah, let's talk about the Indians.
Actually, this is perfect. The Cubs and the Indians played in the World Series last year. Both had acceptably good but disappointing first 2/3 of the season, right? Mm-hmm. They have both had really good last months.
Yeah, incredible.
Corey Kluber has shoved himself into the AL Cy Young race.
Yep.
And
someone else might be pitching their way out of it, too.
yeah, as we speak. And Jose Ramirez has established himself as a legit great third baseman in the league.
Yeah.
And had a couple really funny home runs today. Both of which bounced off an opposing player. Is that what you're telling me? So I saw the first one.
Okay, you go ahead and do the first one. I'll talk about the second
So
one.
the first
one's
one,
way better, but
the first one I believe hit the base of the wall. It hit the top of the wall.
it hit the very top of the wall.
Bounced off I believe it was right fielder. He was going to barehand it and probably try to get him at second base. Probably was the fielder's thought. It bounced off his outstretched hand over the fence.
Yeah.
And that's a home run, guys.
He basically swatted it back over the wall.
Yes.
So it goes, if this is the wall, it hits the very top of the wall, bounces once, straight up, bounces twice, comes back into the field of play,
And then
and the guy
this
reaches for it and bats it back over the wall. So the second one Jose Ramirez hit was to right field. Mm-hmm. It looked like a letters high and tight fastball that he just turned on. And right fielder runs back, jumps, hits off the tip of his glove, hits a little post like just beyond the wall, and comes back in the field of play. And like everyone's confused
Because it hit the post. It hit something that was out of play, that was over the home run line.
Everyone was confused. He stood on second for a second, but they got the call right initially, called a home run, reviewed it, And it's funny because you can see Francona be like, "That's 2 bullshit home runs today for you."
Yeah,
like, as he comes
like
back
those,
in.
none of those really count, Jose.
But yeah, that was. I mean, that's something you see like once a year. Jose Canseco is famous for the
It bounced off the top of his
hitting
head, right?
The top of his head. yeah, he like reaches for the ball and it hits him right here.
Boink. Yeah.
But yeah, that's a
So Jose Ramirez is, I mean, if you're a Cleveland Indians fan, maybe the best reason to be excited for the future. He signed an extension after the season, after like the 2015 season, I think. Mm-hmm. He was like 22 and had a couple good months. And the Indians they just gave him a huge extension, which at the time sort of flew under the radar, but he's now signed through his age 30 season for like $21 million, which is very cheap for a baseball player.
No kidding. That's crazy.
Who produces as well as he does.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the Dodgers? I mean, we should talk about the Dodgers. So the Dodgers are at 91 wins, I believe.
92 now.
92 wins now. And their fan base thinks they're the worst team in baseball.
Yeah. Well,
because they have lost. They have lost now 5 of the last 7 or something like that.
We've lost 6 of the last 7.
Yeah.
7 games. So it
hasn't been a great week to be a Dodger fan.
It hasn't been a great week. But what happened was we were just winning at this pace that really had never been seen before.
Right.
And then combine that with the age of information that we were in, and you're just flooded with like, if the Dodgers keep winning like this, they're going to be the greatest team of all time.
118 win pace.
And in the back of your head, as a Dodgers fan, you're saying, well, who fucking cares about the regular season? Like,
and then in the last month, too, Bellinger's been on the DL. Mm-hmm. Kershaw's been on the DL. I mean, Darvish hit the DL. Jock Peterson got them. I mean, it's just been the month where injuries kind of hit you guys. But everyone's back now, right?
Yeah. Everyone's back now. Bellinger hit his 36th home run today, which is
a Dodgers rookie
record for single-season home runs. I saw something really cool, and it actually included the Cardinals, but I just don't remember. Okay, so I'm actually going to read this one because I just can't memorize it. The Padres last swept a doubleheader. Okay, so let me set this up. The Padres beat the Dodgers twice yesterday, which felt...
Because the Padres are they a bottom 5 team probably?
Yeah.
Or pretty close?
Yeah, and I mean, we play them all the time. We like know them. We beat them a lot.
Yeah.
It kind of stung.
Like, I can't even think who their best player would be.
Right. I would think that Solarte guy.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He had a walk-off against us the other day. The first game of the doubleheader. Anyway, here's my stat that I love today. The Padres last swept a doubleheader in 2016 versus the Cubs. They last swept LA in 1988. Those years worked out okay for both of those franchises. So the last time the Dodgers won a World Series was 88.
And the Cubs won.
And the Cubs won.
Or in 16.
2016.
Yeah.
So, for those of you looking for hope, we'll be all right. Hopefully we get the losing out now.
Real quick, one interesting thing that happened. So the the Dodgers were on the cover of Sports Illustrated with a big write-up. Like 2 weeks ago, maybe.
Best team ever.
Question mark.
Question mark, you're right.
Yeah. So one of the underlying questions in the Sports Illustrated article, and I saw it in some other places, and it says the basic premise is this great season doesn't matter unless the Dodgers win the World Series, which I disagree with. Because this is a great season, like, period. And the postseason is almost this just whole different animal that teams have to conquer.
So I think I have to disagree with you. I agree with what was said in the article.
So if they don't win the World Series...
It's not like I'm going to be like, oh, I completely wiped that out of my head. But the sting of them being the best team all year long and then losing when it actually matters is like... I'm already fearing the nausea that I'm going to have for like 2 weeks in October.
Yeah.
And I'm just feeling like it's going to happen.
I'd
don't almost rather be a mediocre team, or hell, even a shitty regular season team that waltzes into the postseason, like sneaks into the postseason.
Yeah.
And catches fire and wins the World
Series.
Series.
It's been really fun, though, hasn't it?
Oh, it's been amazing. To be able to, addressing the Dodgers fans that watch this, if there are any, to be able to just, like, watching West Coast baseball and Central Time Zone is difficult.
Yeah. I hate when the Cardinals are on the West Coast.
So to be able to go to bed and know that the Dodgers are just going to win.
Yeah.
Even if we're down by 3 runs. Yeah. I've never felt like that before, ever.
Yeah.
I feel obligated to watch or listen. And this season, it's just been like, I'll go to bed. They're going to win.
It's fine.
I'll wake up in the morning and be like, someone else hit a walk-off double tonight.
Yeah. I guess I just don't like that idea that, like, the regular, like, I don't know. It's important that they were able to build and be the best team over 162 games.
I totally know what you're saying.
So the NHL gives out a trophy for the best regular season.
What is that called? Like the President's?
President's something like right?
Yeah.
We're baseball fans. I don't know anything about other sports.
You guys are at 7.5.
Okay.
But no other sport does that. But I think it's nice. It acknowledges an accomplishment.
Right. And it's a huge accomplishment. I'm not, like, it will still, this season will always mean something to me. The fact that, like, we're visualizing data of how the 1927 Yankees and the Dodgers are, like, neck and neck this season.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
It's a good time to be a Dodgers fan. But
you need the World Series.
I would take a ring over this.
Yeah.
I would definitely, like, I have this just horrible fear that we're the next Cubs, you know?
Or
and that I'm
the
going to
next Seattle
6
Mariners.
feet under the next time the Dodgers win one. Last thing on the Dodgers.
Okay.
That we failed to mention. A little half-mental road trip last weekend.
Oh, yeah. Half-mental hit the road.
We went to go see Kershaw's rehab start. He pitched excellent, despite a bizarre at-bat to Jorge Soler, where he threw
three
straight
fastballs.
fastballs to a guy who knowingly
Can only hit fastballs.
Yeah, so it was interesting. The first 2 were in the dirt, and I was like, okay, here come the curveballs. And then it was
And then Soler landed the third fastball on the party deck at OKC Field, whatever it's called.
With the exception of that at bat, I mean, he was pretty sharp.
Yeah.
And he has since returned to the big leagues, got his
Pitched
win.
very well.
Yeah.
So an all-time record was set in the month of August.
Oh, was it for someone that hit a bunch of home runs?
This person has hit a bunch of home runs.
Does he play defense pretty well?
Not for 4 years or so.
Surely he hasn't won any MVPs, has he?
He actually has won some MVPs.
Really?
It's been maybe 8 years since he's won an
I
MVP.
bet he doesn't have any World Series rings.
A couple. 2, right?
Yeah. What's the record?
Albert Pujols, who lives in my heart in eternity, set the all-time record for most double plays grounded into. Nobody has hit into more double plays than Albert Pujols. And that means a couple of things. It means that he has had people on base in front of him a lot, which is a true thing that has happened in his career. Yep. He currently hits behind Mike Trout and has hit behind lots of other good players in St. Louis.
Stick around for our prediction segment.
It means he has begun hitting into a lot of ground balls.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically in the last 4 years or so, that's become an issue. But I think most interestingly, it means it shows he's the slowest player in Major League Baseball. And that's really saying something, because there's a lot of players in Major League Baseball. StatCast has him at his top speed. The fastest he has run over a 10-foot segment, because that's the way they measure it, is 23 feet per second. And that's the slowest by a good bit, and the average is around 27 feet per second. And I did a little bit of math before tonight. that's running a 40-yard dash in like the 5-second range, which is what I did my freshman year of high school.
Nice.
And that's just bad.
Yeah.
It's just not good enough.
Yeah.
And he plays primarily DH now, although he was a Gold Glove first baseman, played a little third base and left field and played him well. So he plays no defense. He grounds into a lot of double plays. He's hitting like 210 or 220, basically with the absence of any defensive value added and not being that good of a hitter anymore. He's the worst player in Major League Baseball.
He's
by many different hard statistics.
So the article I read kind of proved that if he stays on the pace he's on now, he will end the season being the least valuable player in the history of Major League Baseball. But there's like a weird caveat.
Well, so part of that is because he keeps being played.
Right.
Because he is Albert Pujols.
Yeah.
He had the best 11-year run of any player ever, basically.
Exactly. So I think it was like the least valuable player that has been the most valuable player at one point in time.
And there's a difference between the least valuable player and the least talented player.
Right.
Because there are a lot of players out there that don't get the chance to accrue 600 at-bats.
Right.
And don't get the opportunity to hit fourth in the Angels lineup, or third sometimes. And it's just real heartbreaking.
Will he play next year?
He's signed for 6 more years or something. And I mean, he's not going to quit because he's making $27 million a year or something. So the Angels are going to have to figure out what to do.
Yeah. And this is a team that is
a game out of the wild card race?
Out of the wild card. And so what did that article say? It said that he has statistically proven he has cost them 2 losses this year.
Yeah,
What is that called?
It's WAR. Yeah.
Wins
above replacement.
Yeah. So he's cost them 2 games this year, and this is a team that's 1 game out of the playoffs.
Yeah. But the Angels manager, Mike Scioscia, right?
Yeah. Dodgers.
Still, and sort of by necessity, but is still like a Albert Pujols apologist, because one of the interesting things is all of his hits and home runs that he's had this year have come at clutch moments.
Yeah.
And so there's an argument that but he knows when to try really hard to get hits. God. Which is, that gets into really murky territory that makes me really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So why doesn't he just try really hard some other times too?
So here is an interesting counterpoint to what you said about the Dodgers. So I was thinking about this today. If Pujols goes into the playoffs and he hits 2 walk-offs and they make it to the World Series on some all of this is forgiven. No one even questions his season. Did you see that the National League, for the first time since 1973, when the American League instated the DL?
DH?
Oh, God. Damn it. Fuck! The DH. The National League is leading the leagues in hitting.
That's interesting.
Which is crazy in on-base percentage, because...
On-base percentage?
If you think about it...
They're giving up 1/9 of their at-bats, basically.
Right. So there's I saw it today, it's 1,570 at-bats are by pitchers. And we're still... So the DH this year in the American League has been atrocious.
That's interesting.
Did Ortiz retire last year, or was that 2 years ago?
No, that was last year.
So just in 1 year, Ortiz is his presence...
He's cratered.
That wouldn't be the same if just David Ortiz was...
Well, I think Matt Holliday is DHing a lot, and I saw he hit his first home run in the last 6 weeks or something.
What about that street brawl in Detroit?
Oh yeah, Oof. There was there were some legit punches thrown.
Yeah, 7 players were suspended or something like that.
Yeah.
Each
I
for
can't. That was. I forgot all about that. Yeah.
Basically, it just turned into a beanball fest. And at one point, when the Yankees were changing pitchers to Aroldis Chapman, the umpire went out to the mound to do the whole you got one guy on first, you know, kind of update him in the game status, and then Miguel Cabrera just starts. They were chattering back.
Yeah, but he just slugged.
But he just starts throwing haymakers at Avila.
Yeah.
It was
Alex Avila.
Um,
Sorry.
But yeah, so they get on the ground, they're throwing punches, and then the team's coming.
You don't usually see. I mean, Miguel Cabrera is like an elder statesman at this point.
Yeah.
You don't usually see a guy like that start throwing those.
And then the beanballs kept coming.
Yeah, they just kept hitting each other.
That dude got hit in the head later on.
Well,
And
then
the benches cleared like 2 more times, I think.
let's talk about Marcus Stroman.
Let's do it.
So Marcus Stroman is for those at home who aren't aware, is a 26-year-old pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays. He had a really good World Baseball Classic and has continued having a great 2017. I think his 2016 was pretty wiped out with injury, but he had a good year before
I know
that.
that opening day 2016 was very good for him.
Yeah, so like I think he started 4 games in 2016 and then got hurt.
Okay.
But he's been a really good pitcher this year, and he's he is rare in that in his age 24 season he threw 200 innings, and he's going to hit 200 this year too.
Yeah.
Which is really good. I think it was just last night, maybe 2 nights ago. I think it was last night.
Mm-hmm.
He got hit by a line drive coming back at him, which happens for pitchers, but he got hit on his pitching elbow. And because of the magic of StatCast, which we talk a lot about, the ball was going 108 miles an hour, and it hit him in the elbow, in his pitching elbow. So obviously, trainers and pitching coach and manager run out there, and they check him out, and he's like, pitchers always sort of try to stay in the game, but that's pretty bad. You don't screw with an elbow, especially of a young, really good pitcher like that. And
so that's their ace for sure, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So John Gibbons, the manager's like, all right, come on. And he's like, no, I'm good. And he's like pretty demonstrative about it. And they keep trying to talk him out. And you see him on the mound. He's like, I want to throw one more pitch. I'll show you. Give me one pitch. And he's like arguing with his manager on the mound. And eventually he comes out.
Didn't they take his glove away from him?
Yeah. They did. Yeah, the manager took his glove and hit it behind his back.
Exactly.
Which is crazy. The guy really wanted to pitch. And the Blue Jays, aren't in the race.
Yeah.
And, it's really cool to see a guy like that just...
That is awesome.
And, I don't know. He probably could have still pitched. But you just don't take chances like that.
I know. At any other level, right? You would. You'd just be
Probably, yeah. If he wasn't... definitely in, high school, it would have been oh, yeah, you go ahead and pitch this game because you're really good.
But, and what's their... John Gibbons?
John Gibbons is the manager, yeah.
Yeah. In his shoes, you've got, upper management.
Yeah, you can't...
You let that guy pitch?
Right.
Do you know how much we pay that guy?
Yeah, because if he, throws 10 more pitches and then he's like, oh, yeah, my elbow's broken forever. I'm never going to be the same.
That ball's going 180 miles an hour.
Yeah. So that was really cool.
That is cool.
Probably one of my favorite baseball moments.
For the love of the game, dude.
Yeah. The guy just wanted to play baseball. Another one of my favorite baseball moments of the 2017 season happened in the last month or so. Mike Trout and Bryce Harper.
Oh, this is
Look
awesome.
at this.
Sorry.
Look at that transfer of emotion.
I thought you were about to say they played each other, and I was like, dude, that was last
No.
episode.
So we talked about that already.
No, this is great.
Sorry. This segment leads with Bryce Harper,
Okay.
who hit his 150th career home run. And he was 24 years and 295 days old when he hit his 150th career home run. And Mike Trout, when he hit his 150th career home run, was 24 years old and 295 days.
They were the exact same age.
And it's just insane.
I know, that is weird. The two, the two brightest stars in the game.
Yeah.
And they hit this milestone on the exact same age, 2 years apart or something like that?
I think Trout just did his last year at some point, because Trout is 26 right now. So I think Trout probably hit his 150th last year at some point.
That's crazy.
It's just crazy. And for these guys, their careers are always going to be connected, and then they keep having these little moments where they intersect or touch. And it's just oh yeah, you guys can never get away from each other.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Harper had a scary moment in this month.
And he's still hurt, right?
Yeah, he's still down, but it looked Did you ever watch that?
I don't know that I ever saw the replay or highlight or.
Tune into this episode.
Yeah, I'll have to watch this episode
on the
to see
screen
it
right now. But yeah, I mean, his knee. I thought when I saw it, his knee just do one of these. It was like inwards.
And Dusty Baker said this week, like, yeah, he's still a week or so away from running. This is bad. I mean, I hope
painful.
Basically, you hope he's back for the playoffs and able to do Bryce Harper.
Supposedly he will be because all he did was like hyperextended or something. But it looked like every ligament, muscle in his body just tore in half.
Yeah.
And like Dusty Baker runs out to him and he's just like, he's just like rubbing his face and like
Dusty Baker is.
Yeah, it looks like Dusty Baker got hurt. He's just like, oh God, no, please, not the best player.
I want to spend like 30 seconds on Dusty Baker real quick.
Okay.
Who is legitimately among my least favorite. Like, I really don't like that Mike Matheny is manager of the Cardinals, but at least he's not Dusty Baker. Because Dusty Baker had a Cubs team that had Mark Pryor and Kerry Wood on it and ran them into the ground until their arms weren't attached to their bodies anymore. And then he got hired some years, 8 years later, for the Nationals, who have Scherzer and Strasburg and that other pitcher who's really good.
Right. Won a Cy Young.
Like 3 years ago or something. And they now lead the league in starters pitches per start or something.
Wow.
He doesn't know how to take starters out of games.
He's just like not accepting the fact.
It just doesn't matter to him because he doesn't care about it or something.
Right.
So I love the Nationals, but I don't feel good about having Dusty Baker as their manager.
Yeah.
The Mets had a really cool game, or bit of a game, I guess.
Which is good. Mets need that.
Yeah, the Mets may be the worst team to be a fan of in Major League Baseball.
I read something
and this may be another off-season episode, is who's the worst team to be a fan of.
I read something the other day that was like, turns out the most exciting thing about the Mets season was in fact signing Tim Tebow.
Terry Collins is still the manager of the Mets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Until the off-season, when I think he certainly gets fired.
Yeah, I don't even know why they're...
Well, why fire him now?
Yeah.
Anyways. Because Cespedes got hurt, too.
Cespedes is done for the season.
Poof. Who watches Mets games anymore?
I don't know, man. There's that hilarious guy on YouTube, that dude that freaks out after every game.
I don't know, no.
Oh, man. Okay.
Sounds like something I'll have to look up.
Yeah.
So the Mets, ahead of one of their games in the last few weeks, had, within like the last hour or two before a game started, their top two third basemen got hurt. One was Jose Reyes, and it wasn't David Wright, right? I mean, David Wright's
he's been out like all season.
I don't even know who their other third baseman would have been.
Right. Me neither.
No, it's not right.
God.
Basically, everyone on their roster who knew how to play third base got hurt, like during batting practice or something.
Right.
No. And so Terry Collins had their catcher, Travis d'Arnaud.
If you don't know, then
d'Arnaud. Who last played a position other than catcher in college, I believe. He started him at third base and then would flip him to second base with whoever the second baseman was, depending on what side the batter was batting from.
Right.
So like a right-handed batter, he would go to second base because that right-handed batter is going to pull a ground ball to third base, right? Mm-hmm. And so they just flipped him back and forth. So his defensive line is like, d'Arnaud, third base, second base, third base, second base, third base, second base, third base, second. I think he switched 7 times throughout the game. And the only fielding opportunity he had was like an infield fly ball. So it totally worked.
That's crazy.
He didn't have to field a ground ball.
He played third. I didn't realize they
they flipped him back and forth a bunch.
That's hilarious.
And
maybe reconsider the Terry Collins move.
The idea that you can essentially totally hide a player on defense is amazing to me. Like, here's this guy we don't want to have to field the ground ball.
Right.
So we'll just we'll just put him where the ground balls aren't going to go.
Yeah.
It's really cool. So MLB came up with a really hip, fun, cool way to attract the kids.
And I love it.
Players Weekend, which is a time where players get to express themselves more, right?
Yeah.
They had special uniforms that were like kind of almost like Little League inspired or like retro maybe too. They were like all V-necks with like different color sleeves and they got to put nicknames on the back and wear crazy batting gloves and bat with funny colored bats and wear funny cleats and stuff. And overall, it was really fun. I think the players appreciated it. I think it begs the question, what's the damage to the sport if some of that is just the norm?
Right. Like,
but that's a bigger question.
What if we just let guys
wear
like,
I think the
socks that they want to wear?
I think the nicknames is like easy to be like, well, let's have people's real last names on the back of someone's shirt. But yeah, like, why not let them wear really bright shoes that have their mom's name written on them, or batting gloves that are like metallic gold,
right,
with like rainbow fingers or
or
whatever.
Even like Yasiel Puig's bat was like a Cuban colored bat with like a flag on it and stuff, and it's like, why can't you do that?
Yeah, doesn't that seem like a good idea?
Like, I get obviously what you're saying. Like, I get some of the stuff is like, I don't think players should always have nicknames, although that was super fun.
Yeah. Favorite nickname?
I think it's got to be Corey's brother. But I meant to tell you this. I didn't realize this when we last talked about it. Corey Seager, didn't do it.
He just put Seager, didn't he?
Seager.
Yeah.
I was kind of bummed by that.
So it would have been funny if his was Corey. So
yeah,
it was Corey
exactly.
And Corey's brother.
Yeah,
I thought it was funny that he just did Seager.
So you had varying degrees of guys having fun with it too. I mean, and naturally, a lot of them were just like shortened versions of guys' last names.
Right. But there was some funny stuff too.
Yeah. I legitimately almost spent $155 on a jersey at one point.
Where did you find them for $155?
I don't know. Maybe I have the number wrong.
Yeah. So I looked up Kirsch because I really like that, and then Woodman, and it was like $275.
Oh, I don't know.
And I was like, this would be a cool.
It'd be like a neat. I mean, it'd be a good
to be like buy these.
And they were cool looking jerseys in general. The Cardinals was good. It was navy and red sleeves.
Yeah. But like, it's not. Do you know what I mean?
It's
like,
not
this
the
would be
jersey
such a
either.
good opportunity for them to be like, buy this official Players Weekend jersey for
$95,
$100
or whatever.
You know, like instead of $275. Like, who the fuck? Although I've seen tons of people.
Yeah, I'm sure they sold plenty of jerseys.
Yeah, you told me something that caught my attention about this Players Weekend thing.
So the thing about if this was Players Weekend, my first thought is that it draws attention to the fact that every other weekend and game is Owners Weekend. It shows that they're not most interested in their players being the product. They're interested in like the game being the product, or the history, or the brands, because it's a big difference too. Like the Cardinals and Dodgers and Yankees and Red Sox and Cubs. I don't know. I might be missing some guys, but like you go. I mean, these are like iconic imagery too, right. And it was a big break from that. But everybody loved it. You know, I mean, the Cardinals have had the button down and birds on bat, except for, I guess, a little while in the 80s. But, I mean, essentially, you know, a Cardinals jersey today is really similar to what it was 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And the same with the Dodgers and the Yankees. And so, okay, so it's different. But, like, people liked it. It was fun. It looked good still.
Yeah.
It's not like it looks unprofessional necessarily. I think that there's, like, this subcontext of it just showing that it's not about the players when that's what it should be about.
Right. Real quick, what was your favorite? You didn't say favorite nickname.
Yeah. God, Corey's brother was good. I don't know what my favorite would have been.
What was your favorite hat?
My favorite hat was the Minnesota Twins hat.
That was a really
like, made
one.
me wish I was from Minnesota, which has never happened before.
Yeah.
It was like the outline of the state of Minnesota with the Twins hat, with the Twins logo, like, blown up inside of it.
Yeah.
It was good.
It was really cool. I thought it was cool. I thought they did a really good job with that stuff. And you know whose jersey I ended up really liking, despite the fact that I think initially I told you I didn't?
The Marlins.
The Marlins.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I love the Marlins color scheme and stuff.
Yeah.
It's
just that stadium.
Yeah. Let's talk about bad umpires.
Angel Hernandez?
He's one of them.
Yeah.
It was a bad month to be an umpire. There were multiple, like a handful of really bad calls. There were veteran players calling out veteran umpires, which I don't know if I've ever seen
To the
that.
to the degree that it went to.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like that. And actually, just this last week, an umpire blew a call on a home run ball. They even reviewed it, decided something was not a home run, and then the next day MLB released a statement that was like, yeah, that was a home run. We just messed that up. Sorry, guys.
Damn.
I mean, that's bad.
That sucks. That should not be happening with the replay
it's,
thing. Let's just not have it.
Yeah,
We're
like
not
if we're
get it
still
right.
going to blow home run calls.
Yeah. And that shouldn't even fall on the umpire, really. Like, was that home run reviewed?
Yeah, it was reviewed.
Yeah, then I don't.
So that's why.
Because you've got
So
however
a quick
many
thing,
guys in New York.
Yeah, I think the
looking
quick
at-
thing is reviews have to be done by somebody that's not an on-field umpire. There has to be somebody who's like, oh, this might be reviewed. I'm going to start looking at it now. You know,
Well,
like
it's not. I mean, that's how it's done.
so the biggest moment in the umpire debacle was Angel Hernandez, who has been an umpire for like 25 years or something, but has a history of noticeable bad calls. Like players will like list calls that he blew. Had a bad strike zone one night against Detroit
Right.
and blew a third strike call against Ian Kinsler. And Ian Kinsler lost it. Got kicked out of the game. And then even the next day,
And Osmus got kicked out too, right?
yeah, I think Osmus came out too. And the next day, somebody asked Kinsler about it, and he was still fired up. And he said, I think he needs to look for a new line of work.
Yeah.
Which I've never heard anyone say about an umpire. Because umpires, I mean, the idea is that even when they make mistakes, they're still the top. You know, it's still kind of buck stops with them, and they're
Right.
and so you had this veteran player saying, calling out an experienced umpire, and he got suspended for it, I think,
He got suspended. He got fined $10,000.
and suspended, and you lose game checks when you get suspended too.
Yeah.
I mean, so his loss of income was significant. I don't know what it was.
I thought that was way over the top. I think what
Yeah,
Ian Kinsler said was harsh, but I do not think it does. Like, I think that's just sort of like an ancient way to look at the game of baseball right now.
so I mean, so there's this. I don't know. It's hard to think of an industry that is more scrutinized than a major league umpire, and like loudly and like very visibly scrutinized. Right? Think of another job where if you mess up, the other people who you like do your job with are allowed to like get this close to you and yell at you as hard as they can. It's really a unique
Yeah.
job, right? And
But like at the end of the day, you still have the power,
right.
which is an interesting.
So it's
twist.
just it's just a really difficult and it's just a weird dynamic.
Yeah.
So the major league umpires, in response to the Ian Kinsler comments and like a few other smaller little deals, a few of them wore like white sweatbands on their arm for a game. Joe West did it, and he's probably the most senior umpire. And the idea was, like they said, their official thing was they were protesting the abuse handed out to umpires by players and managers. And they did it for one night, and MLB said, if you do that again, we're going to fire all of you. And so they stopped doing it. Because MLB can do,
Right.
it's not a...
There's enough people to probably just replace all of them.
Yeah, and the product would probably suffer a little bit for a little while. But MLB just squashed it. They just can't have this controversy, right?
Yeah.
And then they continued to there continued to be like high-profile bad calls, like the home run call that MLB had to apologize for. A couple nights ago, the Cardinal game, their backup first baseman, his name's Luke Voigt, struck out on a ball that like almost hit him in the knees. It was a terrible call. And that umpire called him out, and he had to walk away, and he's a rookie who, if that had been a ball and he'd been able to get on base, like, his statistics are better. His career looks, you know, I mean, like, these things matter to these guys, and they matter more to the players than they do to the umpires overall.
So what's your answer to this?
Yeah, so I mean, it's this big question between whether or not they go to what people refer to as like robo-umps,
Right.
where computers are tracking the ball movements so precisely that surely we can know when it hits this three-dimensional box that is the strike zone.
And just not even have umpires on the field is what?
Or not at home plate, at least.
Yeah.
And the MLB commissioner is, he says that technology's not there. And I sort of disagree with that. Because technology's, I mean, the stuff
what is this called? What is it? What, the strike, the K zone. Or
yeah,
whatever.
K zone, and you see those miss them every once in a while, but they're pretty good, and like umps miss them too. So,
how do you feel about that though?
I feel like they've got to. I think they have to come up with a solution for it, and I think it's probably that strikes and balls are called by computers. I still think you want somebody calling like outs at bases and stuff, and like balks. And
What do you think about someone in the booth, and the umpire just has an earpiece in, and someone's just like strike?
Well, so my problem with
second,
that, so
instantaneously.
The issue with that is that I think it starts to cause this like hesitation in the umps to where everything takes an extra beat. Does that make sense?
But if
where they're like waiting for like a buzz in their right ear or a ding in their left ear, whatever, you know, whatever the system they would come up with.
You just have a guy who goes strike, ball.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I've always felt super, and I know I just said like the Ian Kinsler thing is like a really ancient way to look at the game of baseball, like what happened to him and the fine and the suspension and stuff. But I'm about to get ancient real quick. Like I've always felt that there needs to be that human factor in the game, and
because like I coached machine pitch baseball this year, and the biggest thing you can teach kids is just whatever the ump, you know. Yeah, I mean, that's like the idea is that that's important.
Right.
Whatever the ump says is what we're doing.
Right. What's the definition of a strike? I'll never forget that. The first time a coach said
and it's whatever the ump calls is a strike.
It's from the letters to the knees and as wide as the plate. He's like, nope.
Nope, it's whatever the guy behind the catcher says, right?
Exactly. And I think also I think it's part of the, like, it's such a huge part of the game to see, like, even to see someone flip out.
Yeah.
Like when you go to a live baseball game.
Yeah.
And Ian Kinsler flips his shit. Like, you stand up and you clap and you...
Well, and there's like really... I mean, I've seen... From a pitching perspective, too, like, pitchers don't necessarily want robo-umps either. Because, I mean, you've seen these pitchers who will, like, nibble on the outside of the strike zone and then move, like, an inch further, and they get that. And then they move an inch further. And, like, eventually they're getting calls half a foot off the plate. And it's just because they've shown the ability to hit this spot. And they've almost like tricked the umpire, and it's easy to be like, well, they shouldn't trick the umpire. That's not the rule. It's like, yeah, but they're really good at doing it.
And I mean, I think we've talked about this before. But like the first thing you're told to do as a catcher is just to like
frame your
get
pitches,
out there
right?
and test the umpire. And like,
and so that's what
you have a guy on the mound like Maddox who can fucking throw a baseball through a cracked door from 70 feet away.
Yeah.
Then, in a big moment, 3-2 count. Throw it a few inches off the plate. You might get that call. You probably, if you're Greg Maddux, you get that call. If you're Clayton Kershaw, you get that call every time.
Yeah.
There's 162 games a season. And maybe this is a terrible way to look at it, but I've always just loved the fact that like pitchers get to know umpires. It's like, oh,
yeah, they all do. Yeah, they all know each other.
Throw a lower strike to this guy.
Yeah.
I know he's going to call the lower strike.
Yeah, it's like interesting, right?
Yeah, it's like a sort of deeper cut, if you will.
Yeah,
part
and there are scouting
the
reports on umpires. You can look these up.
Exactly.
It'll show you what they call as strikes and.
And I can totally see why people would be for like the robo ump or whatever to just get it 100% of the time, like
or at least standardized.
Or 99.68. But I feel like
it's hard.
That
That'd
frustration
be a huge
of
change,
like
right?
I like me watching a playoff game. I feel is like the worst version of me.
Yeah, I've watched playoff games with you. That's like, a fair way to describe it.
But like that feeling of like, oh, we didn't get that call, you know, like. But that's part of why my blood pressure goes out of the roof and why I fucking pace and throw a PBR
Like everyone wants
at my window.
Well, like everyone wants someone to blame, right? Like if you don't get a call,
Right. It's not the Dodgers' fault.
it's like well, that pitch is where it had to be. The ump didn't call it. It's
Yeah.
like, well, no, the ump. I mean, and again, to be clear, the ump's mostly right and right 95% or whatever of the time.
Due to the overwhelming success of last month's question of the month and all the comments on YouTube, we're going to continue question of the month.
Question of the month. Question of the month.
It's time for the question of the month. So, put your goddamn phone down. Look me in the eyes. No, I'm just kidding. If you are a Major League Baseball player and you could pick any walk-up song for your at-bats, what would that be?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Do you want me to sing it?
Yes.
You can find me in St. Louis.
Nice. I like it.
I just can't do anything different, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, this question was raised a while ago, and I thought about it a lot, and I just can't imagine a better answer than Nelly. Some Nelly from back when I was in high school
Yeah.
with some St. Louis pride.
Because you're from the Lou and you're proud, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that, and like, I wanted like a better or like a cooler answer, but like hip hop is good, you know, like for walk up songs, I think.
Right.
Like it's these like short segments that works well, and it's sort of like, you know, it's like a little bit of a pump up music, and everyone in the stands can be like, yeah, I know this song, this is good. I don't know.
Nice.
I can't do better than that, I don't think.
That's fine. I don't think that's bad.
Okay.
So I've had the same one since I was like in 3rd or 4th grade.
Okay.
And I think it's pretty solid. I really spent some time trying to think if I could do better, and I'm sure I could. This selection predates a Saturday Night Live skit that sort of made this song even more popular than it is today, which kind of bums me out, but I also think it might make it even a better
Walk up song.
walk-up song. So I've always said that if, and at the time I chose this, I thought that this was going to be a real thing, you know? I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to play for the Dodgers, and every time I come up to bat, you're going to hear Don't Fear the Reaper. And that's always been my
That-
thing. Blue Oyster Cult.
That's wasn't that somebody's bullpen song?
I don't know. I don't think so. No, I feel like you're thinking of Inner Sandman,
Maybe.
which would be a good walk-up song too.
Should you sing some "Don't Fear the Reaper"?
Oh,
I mean, I sang mine. I just thought we were gonna sing them.
I mean, I can. It's just that's kind of a hard one to sing. Well, from the wind and the sun and the rain, come on, baby, we can be like they are.
Okay, you're in the box
Don't
now.
fear the
That's
reaper.
it. That's all you get.
So I was going to ask both you guys then, because I thought a lot about this. What section of the song?
So I
Where
think
does
mine
it
would be
start?
like for me, Don't Fear the Reaper would be the beginning.
Do
Let's
it
go
only an
down,
hour.
down, 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 that's
You're getting there pretty quick, and that shit's just going.
Yeah,
Yeah, the drums coming fast. That's good. That's good.
And I think people would probably, the like more cowbell thing would
Yeah.
only enthuse people these days. But like I said, wasn't a part of my selection process.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would just want that little snippet where it says "You can find me in St. Louis," and like the 47,000 people in Busch Stadium are like, "Yeah, we're here. This is it. We're all living the dream."
The final Drillers game at the old Driller Stadium, Tulsa Drillers. Dexter Fowler came up to Spotty Eye Dopalicious by Outkast, which was an impactful walk-up song. I remember just being like, oh, like the second he started walking up, I was like, and I was like, yeah! Leave your answer to favorite walk-up song. Favorite walk-up song or what you would like your walk-up song to be.
Comment below. Tweet at us at halfmentalbb.
Who was walking up to like Frozen a few years ago? Do you remember that?
I don't know. You've had guys play with it because like the other
Yeah.
thing to do would be like ask your kid what it should be and just leave it for a month.
Oh.
Because they can change it.
Was it you telling me about Ben Zobrist?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't remember this.
I don't think it was. Someone told me that everyone jokes around with Ben Zobrist because his wife is like an amateur recording artist. And so he uses her songs.
Through the night that our flag was still there.
Oh, that's
And all the
funny.
dudes are like, that shit sucks. Like,
That's funny.
um,
But as a husband, you'd sort of...
yeah,
I mean...
definitely. Because you're like, not only is it like a little cute salute to your wife,
It could help her.
It's also maybe like, hey, just threw you some iTunes downloads.
Yeah. And it doesn't really matter, right? I mean...
Yeah. All right. We're going to try and predict the future here.
Yep.
We're doing playoff predictions. You want to lead or you want me to go?
You go.
Okay. National League. It's actually National League set up pretty easily right now. The wild cards.
All of our division leaders are pretty solid.
Right. The wild cards in both leagues are the hard ones. But Dodgers are going to play the wild card winner in the first round, which I think is going to be the Diamondbacks.
Who are they going to play?
The Diamondbacks will play the Colorado Rockies in the wild card game.
And will beat the Rockies.
They will beat the Rockies. The game will be in Arizona, and the Diamondbacks will have to blow Zach Greinke in that game,
Yeah.
which becomes a huge part of my NLDS prediction.
Yeah. Which I think is right. The Brewers are only a half game out of the Rockies right now. But I think the Rockies are just more talented.
Yeah.
The Brewers had like a hilarious closed-door players-only meeting led by Matt Garza,
Whoa.
which feels like the worst. Like, if Matt Garza is the guy doing that for
Right.
you, that's probably part of the problem, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
And they had a couple good weeks. They caught up to the Rockies, who not that long ago seemed uncatchable, but
Yeah.
I think over the course of the season, it'll be the Rockies and Diamondbacks.
Yeah. The Brewers play the Cubs like 7 times
Yeah,
in September.
which probably isn't good for them.
Right. So yeah, I've got Diamondbacks, Rockies. You agree there?
Yeah, and I'll give the Diamondbacks the wild card game.
I think the
Greinke's
Diamondbacks-
better than
Yeah.
whoever
Paul Goldschmidt is on a
Colorado's.
tear.
Yeah,
So that makes for a Western Division clash in the NLDS of the Dodgers, Diamondbacks, and then on the other side, or not other side of the bracket, but
yeah,
the other series will be
in the NL.
the Nationals versus the Cubs, which I think will
Which I think the Nationals and Cubs could be the best series of the postseason,
I agree.
regardless of what happens the rest of the postseason.
What's weird to me is the Cubs pitching still feels sort of like a question mark in my mind.
Yeah, I agree. And they've had a good month. Like we talked about Arrieta having a good month, and
Yeah.
Lackey's had a good month. But yeah, it still doesn't feel like a strength for them.
Right.
They're still kind of powered by their offense, which can be a difficult way to win playoff series.
Yeah.
Typically, scoring goes down a little bit in the playoffs, and pitching ends up being more important. And the Nationals' weakness the first half of the year was their bullpen,
They addressed that.
and they addressed that. Sean Doolittle's been great
Yeah.
since they got him. He leads the league in saves since they got him.
Right.
For whatever that matters. So I mean, I'd feel pretty good if I were a Nationals
Yeah.
fan.
So let's hop over to the American League. Mm-hmm. The Houston Astros will get the number 1 seed.
Will they?
I think they will. I think they'll, with their additions of Cameron Maybin and, is it Cameron?
Cameron Maybin went to the Angels, didn't he?
No, they just picked him up. The Astros did.
I thought he went to the Angels. No, the Angels got different guys. Sorry. Yeah. And
And
Verlander
Justin
was
Verlander,
a big.
which is huge.
Yeah,
I think they'll be able to secure the number 1 spot.
I think you're probably right. Cleveland's 3 games back of them for the number 1 spot.
Yeah.
and has
Cleveland
played
has
really
Won
well.
11 in a row.
But you're probably right. 3 games is a lot to make up at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm comfortable giving that to Houston.
They'll face the wild card.
Right.
Which-
Houston will face the wild card. So right now there are 2, 4, 6 teams. Let's just go 8 teams within 5.5 games of each other to have a wild card spot.
Yeah.
We have Yankees, Twins, Orioles, Angels, Mariners, Rangers, Royals, Rays, all within 5.5 games of each other, to play a 1-game playoff to face probably the Astros.
Right.
Who do you like?
I think it's going to be the Yankees versus the Orioles.
I think the Yankees right now lead the field. They're a game and a half up on their closest competition. So I'll give them, I mean, they should make the wild card game. And I think I like the Angels to play them in it.
Angels, Yankees, you're saying.
Yeah, so I'm going Angels, Yankees, AL wild card
Okay.
game. You're
So our
going
first disagreement.
You're going-
That's great.
You're going Yankees, Orioles.
Yeah. I just feel like Manny Machado has been playing out of his mind.
Yeah.
I think he's going to kind of lead them.
Who's their
Trumbo?
No, they're is it Justin Shoop? Who's their other? They've got a guy that I think he's their shortstop. I think it's Shoop.
Okay, so that means Astros will play.
Winner of that.
Yeah, which
I think the Astros beat whoever they play. I mean, do you think either 3 of the teams you just named will beat the Astros in a playoff series?
no.
I
I
don't
think we're
either.
going to see. Here's how I see it going down. I see the Red Sox playing the Cleveland Indians.
Mm-hmm.
I see the Indians advancing.
Yep.
I think it's
Agreed.
going to be a better series than it was
That'll be a
last
good
year.
series.
Yeah. And then I think the Indians beat the Astros in the ALCS, and the Indians advance to their second World Series in 2 years.
I agree with you.
On the National League side, this is like, I think that again the Nationals Cubs is
So
going to
Cubs,
be the
Nationals.
series to watch, but
We
I
gotta pick
think
it.
we are going to have an NLCS repeat of Dodgers Cubs.
I think you're probably right.
I don't have a lot of reason why, just because I think it's probably going to go 5 games. Dusty Baker has an atrocious.
I mean, Washington's
record.
going to have home field advantage.
Yeah, that
almost
means nothing
certainly.
with Dusty Baker though. He's
Yeah.
never won an elimination game at home.
Dusty Baker has never won
This
an
was
el-
This is like a big story
an
last year.
elimination game at home. That's pretty bad.
This was a big story last year when the Dodgers had Game 5 in Washington. It was like, well, Dusty Baker cannot win these games, and then we ended up coming from behind and beating him.
Huh. It's another reason I don't want Dusty Baker managing my baseball team.
So we got the Indians. We got the Indians in the World Series,
Yeah.
and the Dodgers going back at the Cubs. I don't think the Dodgers are a whole lot better than the Cubs. I just think the way that last year went, and the way the Dodgers have been watching other teams celebrate a lot lately, I think the
Just-
Dodgers will be able to.
Just to be
eliminate-
totally clear, the Dodgers, over the last 136 baseball games, have been 18 games better than the Cubs.
Yeah.
But you're saying today you don't feel like they're much better than the Cubs.
Right, today.
Okay. I disagree.
I think the Dodgers will be able to beat the Cubs in the NLCS this year.
I think it's going to be 5 games.
Dodgers?
Yeah.
Damn.
I think the Dodgers are like,
I think it'll go 6 or 7. I think
think
you'll
the-
see Kershaw pitch twice.
the Dodgers are really good. And I understand, like, I think you're doing this thing whereas you don't, like, want to get too excited, right? And you don't want to, like, be really disappointed if they don't win the World Series. But they're really good. They've got the world's best pitcher on their team.
Dodgers, Indians World Series.
Yeah. It's one of these things, like, it's always, you don't bet on one team versus the field. But I would be surprised if it weren't Dodgers, Indians, I think. I think Dodgers, Indians, and Dodgers, Astros are probably pretty close. But past that, I think you get into, like, anyone can win territory. Which gets real mad. Whatever,
Right.
sure. If those teams aren't in it, then anyone can win. Can the Yankees win? Sure, I guess so. But I think it's pretty likely that it's one of those 3 teams.
Yeah. And then I've got the Dodgers in 7. Dodgers winning the World Series in 7 games.
Yeah. I mean, World Series generally go 6 or 7 games. It's rare to have less than that. Yeah. I think you're probably right.
Okay.
Cody, Clayton, Kenley.
Kershaw.
No, I said Clayton.
Oh, yeah.
Cody, Kenley, Clayton,
Kiki.
Yasiel Puig.
Best record in the National League.
Yeah.
Rich Hill
Yeah.
for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
He had 8 2/3 of a perfect game.
No, he had 8.
8 innings of a perfect game.
Yeah.
Backup, even like third string third baseman, Logan Forsythe. He boots a grounder that anyone...
Routine ground
Yeah.
ball.
So it's an error, but it eliminates his perfect game.
No hitter is still intact.
No hitter still intact. He gets into the...
Oh, have we mentioned yet that the Dodgers have also not scored any runs?
Yeah,
This was kind of the
it's
beginning.
been a rough offensive month.
This is kind of the beginning of our woes.
Yeah.
0-0.
Yeah, so it was 0-0, right? Oof. Yeah.
So we come back out in the 10th. We can't score any runs in the top of the 10th. Rich Hill comes back out to pitch the 10th inning, which these days is pretty unheard of. But his pitch
he was
count
like 90 pitches or something.
his pitch count was so low that there's no denying that it was the wrong call, in my opinion.
There's no denying it was the right call.
The right call. Whoops.
Yep.
Cheers.
Brian Roberts has done a good job overall.
Dave Roberts.
Dave Roberts. Who's Brian Roberts?
Yeah, Rich Hill comes back out for the 10th. Gets 2 strikes. Like, 2 hilarious strikes where the batter looked like he wasn't anywhere close to hitting the ball.
This was against the Pirates.
Yeah.
It's Josh Harrison, I think.
Yeah. By the way, in the 7th or 8th inning, Chase Utley made a catch at second base that
Maybe one of the best infield plays
I have ever
you'll
seen.
ever see. Like, great catches tend to go towards center fielders or
Right.
maybe like a corner outfielder up against the wall. It was an amazing
It was
catch.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, I thought off the bat there's no way anyone would touch it. It was a base hit.
Yeah,
No-hitter
game over or
Yeah.
whatever. Or not game, but
Yeah.
no hitter over.
Anyway, so that's important. I have this theory that every perfect game, every no-hitter has one, like, incredible, jaw-dropping defensive play.
Yeah, you
and
need
when
that,
Chase
right?
Utley made that play, I was like, holy shit.
That's it.
This is
Yeah.
it. We got this. 2 strikes to Josh Harrison in the bottom of the 10th. He fucking pokes one that goes about 2 feet over the left field fence, and the Pirates win the game.
So this was in
with
Pittsburgh.
1 hit.
So this was in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's got a funny stadium even. They've got like, sort of traditional outfield, and then right at the left field foul line, it like cuts
Jets
in.
Yeah.
So their left field foul pole's like 315. It had, like, in any other park, there's just a left fielder standing underneath that ball.
Yeah.
But there
And to Curtis Granderson's credit, he put like a lifetime's worth of effort into catching that
did he?
ball.
That's awesome.
I'm surprised he didn't have like 4 broken ribs. But anyway, it was a night where I was able to watch from like the 2nd inning on, and when Chase Utley made that catch, it was one of those things where I like silently celebrated so hard. I was like, God! But yeah, it was an incredible game. It was the best game I've ever seen a team lose. It's the first time that's ever
It's the
happened.
first time a no-hitter has been broken up by a walk-off home run ever.
Damn.
Yeah.
Ever?
Ever.
And there have been-
in the history of
And
baseball.
there have been lots of baseball games played.
Mailbag.
Mailbag. Really, really just got inundated this month.
Yeah, it's hard to sift through all the emails.
Quick one from Shane H.
Where's he from?
Tulsa, okay. Hey guys, longtime watcher, first time troller.
Nice.
Now that Pablo Emilio Juan Pedro Sandoval Jr., aka Kung Fu Panda, is back in the orange and black and is tearing it up in AAA Sacramento, I was just wondering if you thought I should go with my Barry Bonds away jersey or my Will the Thrill Clark 89 World Series home jersey as appropriate threads to wear to the 2017 Giants World Series parade. Great question.
Thanks, Shane.
Kung Fu Panda had a couple good games and is since hitting like 120 or something for the San Francisco Giants.
I heard he can be found at a Kung Fu Panda Express these days.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Nailed it.
The Giants are mathematically eliminated from the World Series this year, but
They
I
are
would wear,
39 and a half games out, and yet they're eliminated, so it doesn't matter.
I
but-
would support the now Miami Marlins hitting coach, who has done a great job with Giancarlo Stanton, Barry Bonds.
Sure.
Go with the Barry Bonds jersey.
Yep. Okay. Next question. From our dedicated listener, Edward D.
No longer a first-time caller.
Second-time caller, long-time listener.
Yep.
If you took an entire season's worth of MLB at-bats, how many hits would you get? So we got this question, and I later discovered, I imagine he asked us this after it was posed by an MLB writer. I don't know this for sure. Edward, if you're out there.
Edward, can you hear
So there was actually a lot of discussion on this because it was raised by a national baseball writer on what like just a dude would do over, let's say, 600 MLB at bats, which is about right. How many hits would you get if you played like let's say you played the Dodgers schedule in the leadoff spot? So that's even more at bats. Let's say you got 650 at bats against good major league pitching and bad major league pitching and whatever, the spectrum. How many hits would you get?
I think I'd get 58 hits.
What would they look like?
They'd be like...
That's like way more hits than I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, I think they'd be like little seeing-eyed, singles.
So here's what would happen to me if I played an entire season worth of Major League Baseball. I would get zero. I think I would get 0 hits.
Yeah, I think you would too. I've seen you swing. in the
I think what
backyard.
would happen. So your hope for a hit is that like you make contact and like dribbles kind of like 26 feet between the catcher and third baseman or something, and you can just run to first base before anyone can get to it. Or that's the way I think of it. I'm like, maybe I could get a couple of those. But I think what would happen is all the infielders would play like on the arc that makes up the pitcher's mound, and all the outfielders would play in the infielders' positions because they know that I can't hit it over their heads. So I think everyone would play within 90 feet of home base. Like pretty quickly, I think they would come to that conclusion.
They would like institute like a Dan Sinnott shift.
Yeah, it'd be like the back of the dirt of the infield is they know I
Where the
can't hit it.
outfielders play.
Yeah.
Damn.
I think that's what would happen. I think you'd see 9 players.
I don't know that I'd get 58 hits. I think I want to revise that to something more like 39.
Okay. 39 sounds a lot better. I mean, 58 hits is almost like a 100 batting average, which we've seen some guys get
Right.
pretty close to that.
Right. That's true.
It's really hard to get hits, right?
Yeah. I'm really hard. Thanks, Edward.
Okay, well, that's been our episode.
No, we got power rankings.
Oh, yeah, knockout power rankings. Go. 5.
All right. Number 5 is the Houston Astros.
4.
Number 4 is the Chicago Cubs.
3.
Number 3,
Uh-huh.
That's a number?
That comes before 4.
Boston Red Sox.
Okay. 2.
Los Angeles Dodgers.
So number 1.
Cleveland Indians.
I had really bad power rankings last time, so I think
Same.
it's okay. But
All right, Dan, power rankings, go. 5,
Red Sox,
4,
Cubs,
3,
Astros,
2,
Indians,
1.
Dodgers.
This has been Half Mental. It was 90% baseball. Felt like a lot more mental. I am Ichiro Suzuki.
And I'm Bartolo Colon. Thanks a lot for watching this
Thanks for
month.
joining us. We'll see you next time. Hit us up in that mailbag.
halfmentalbaseball@gmail.com. Tweet at us at halfmentalbb. Comment in the section.
We also have a
comment
Facebook.
section.
Hello, Mother Facebook.
Yeah, Hello Mother Facebook.
Yeah.
Get all our content.
And thanks for joining.
No, I do too. I just also think it's funny
I know,
to envision
sometimes-
these like suits in New York
What was the
being
tweet?
like,
What was the tweet you read?
You can find me in St. Louis, where the gun play, rained all day. Some got jobs and some sell yay. Others just smoke